Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another entertaining game of Super Rugby Pacific. This one, the Chiefs and their contest up against the Brumbies. Now, of course, it is a part of the Super Round, like I said, so it is taking place in Melbourne. But these two sides, they have had some absolutely awesome fixtures against each other in recent times. This one will be no different. But after the last night's win that we saw for the Waratahs, perhaps that just G's up the Australian sides that little bit more to go out there, put on a show, and try to walk away with the victory. But looking through at the starting lineup, first of all, for the Chiefs, they are going to be as follows. In the front row, it is Ollie Norris, Bradley Slater, and George Dyer. In the locking duo, they have gone with Manakai Selby-Rickett alongside the man with him, Tupavai. Sama Penifenau, Kalen Boshia, and Luke Jacobson will make up the loose forward trio. Then in the 9-10 combo, this could be a very entertaining one once more, just like it was in the game up against the Crusaders. Xavier Rowe at number 9, and also Damien McKenzie to slot in as the number 10. Rame Kapoihapi in the midfield alongside Anton Leonard-Brown, Etene Nanai-Satoro, Liam Coombs-Fabling, and Sean Stevenson there at number 15. Then for the opposition, the Brumbies, the home away from home side, if you will. James Slipper, Lachlan Lonergan, and Sifu Kautai in the front row. Nick Frost and Tom Hooper as the locking duo. Then Rob Ballatini at 6. Luke Raymer at number 7. And then the youngster Charlie Carl as the number 8. Ryan Lonergan and Noah Lolesio going to be the 9-10 combo with Ollie Satsford and Len Ikatel as the midfield. Then Corey Toole, Andy Muirhead, and Tom Wright. Huge amount of pace on those outsides. Of course, Corey Toole, ex-member of the Aussie Sevens side, who are currently doing pretty well in the LA Sevens. We have got the LO Hamish getting ready for my last Sevens live stream for this weekend. Mackenzie alone is worth a watch, says Naz Williams there. It is certainly going to be an entertaining one, that is for sure, when these two sides do go head-to-head. Yeah, I assume Tim was going to be doing this game that I know of. I know that it's a relatively early morning start. Maybe his alarm also didn't work, just like mine did a little bit earlier on. Hurricanes versus Blues would be quite entertaining. Says Zion, yeah, that's going to be an absolutely awesome game, that is for sure. Just showing these two sides, they are out on the field at AAMI Park, ready to go for yet again another match of the Super Round and Super Rugby Pacific. And straight away, a little bit of a kickoff from the Brumbies. They didn't claim it cleanly, and because of it, it's bumped into touch, and the Chiefs have got themselves the line out from only about 15 metres or so out from the Brumbies line. Now, they will be wanting to start this match quick. Just a bit of a handling error there from, I think it was Luke Raymer, who got it wrong. The Waratahs were so good at the Crusaders. They played a very strong, well-rounded game of rugby, taking their opportunities when they arose, which is exactly what the Brumbies want to do here up against the Chiefs. Of course, this is the side that the Chiefs were able to beat in the semi-finals last year for Super Rugby Pacific. Oh, yeah, you made me stay out till 5 a.m. for nothing, says Pads Blaze. Well, I hope you still were able to watch the games somewhere. Well, those ones that were on. I mean, the URC, they are on TVNZ Plus, so you should have been able to see them on there. Sean Stevenson now moves to only 10 metres out from the line. Good defence from the Brumbies, though, almost getting the turnover, and the breakdown was Ryan Lonergan. Pop pass up to Ollie Norris. One more, but it's dropped by Dyer. But they will go back for the initial penalty. Hamish, I do in quarterfinals, says Brandon. And go the Chiefs, says Zion. And there as well. Just out from their own try line, though. 5 metres to be exact from the line here. And they'll have to make a decision for the Chiefs. And that is whether or not they do want to go attacking. He's up, says Robert. Yeah, whether or not they do want to go attacking, go for the 7 or maybe the scrum. Or whether you go for the 3. I think that one thing's for sure. I don't think they're going for the 3 points. I want a nice 102 from the Tars versus Satyrs game, says Novice. So that is good news. Gamble responsibly, of course, though, because just as quickly you can lose that $102. And then, yeah, not ideal. So be sure to use it wisely and not put it straight back into gambling. 2 minutes gone in this contest, and already the Chiefs have had a majority of the possession ever since the early era. But now there is an error at line-out time for the Chiefs, and the Brumbies have cleaned up the ball. Early morning today, So here's Brandon. Now Nololisio kicking this one downfield. Now it's going to be putting it into touch on the halfway line of Tino Nanasatoro. Still considering going for the line out. Hangs on to it. Canada up 7 against early against New Zealand in the 7 sets. I think Canada came into that game as an $11 underdog. But I still felt like that was a little bit harsh. Because, don't get me wrong, like, yes, New Zealand have been good at times. But at other times, New Zealand have really struggled up against the Canadians. Xavier Rowe now going off to the left-hand side. Good low tackle made on Tupavai. Rowe goes back across to the right. Caitlin Boshier with the pop pass up to Damien McKenzie. Trying to shut that one down was Lena Cattell, and unfortunately joining them all incorrectly. So it does mean that there is another penalty in favour of the Chiefs. I was crack up at 4 in the morning watching Peeps wait, says Nas Williams. Yeah, if I had known that the alarm wasn't going to actually go off, like I set 3 alarms, none of them went. So if I had known that they weren't going to, I would definitely not have tried to get a 30-minute rest. So that's pretty much my bad for trying to stop being up for 36 hours and instead go to only 35 and a half, or like split up. But yeah, big mistake, mate. Won't do it again, that's for sure. I did come over at 6 a.m. to my live stream. We're doing the 7s, then you can see 7s. So here's Brandon, but looks like now they are going to be lining up this kick. Is it Damien McKenzie? Yes, it is. I thought it looked like Xavier Rowe for a second, who had the kicking tee, and I was utterly confused, but it is Damien McKenzie now. Ready to line up this kick. 4 minutes in. Want to make sure that they do get every point that is available. Speaking of points available, you can get the full 5. Also points available, though, for the team that do lose this game. You can get yourself 1. Come on, McKenzie, says Zion. And Chiefs. Go Chiefs. And that one has gone over from Damien McKenzie. Now it makes the score 3 points to 0 in favour of the Chiefs. I mean, I know how much they wanted to get that full 7 points that were available, but 3 points off the bat, still going to be a very decent amount. He didn't like the way that he struck that one, Damien McKenzie. Felt like it maybe came up a little bit shorter than he was trying for. Nice bit of work from Liam Coombs Fabling now. Currently inside of their own 22 here. The Chiefs, New Zealand 7's 2 behind on an unconverted try, says Gus. Now Damien McKenzie will kick this one towards the touchline as DMAC, our best goal kicker in New Zealand. In terms of current options, it'd be up there, I would say. But, like, of course, overall, well, actually, overall, he's probably not too bad percentage-wise either for New Zealand or guys from New Zealand who are playing overseas. Yeah, probably be the option for the All Blacks in the near future. Brumbies in position, 42 metres out from the Chiefs line. Nice short ball from Ollie Satswick. Gets it away to Luke Rammer. Look for the offload to Lena Cattell. I think there might have been a partial knock on, but the referee says play on. Now Nololisio tries to pass it on the outside to Corey Toole. He's complaining he's been tackled without the ball, and he does have a decent shout about it. Gesundheit Hamish, and hello, says Yvonne. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. Geordie Barrett used to be a strong call, but he is known for hitting the post these days. But also, Geordie Barrett, his percentage is never going to be drastically high, only because of the fact that he does take kicks on from so far out. So it's going to be always a lot more challenging and a lot less percentage going over. Fiji versus France, Los Angeles, or in fact it is USA versus France, Fiji versus Spain for the matchups. I'm just home from a night out. You're looking very dapper, Hammy. Says Yvonne, thank you very much. Hopefully you did enjoy your night out. Wait, home from a night. It's like 5 a.m, isn't it, for you, Yvonne? So you've had a big night. That is for sure. I usually see you in the morning, says Yvonne. Scrums last week, 100% were won by the Chiefs up against the Crusaders. Now Xavier Rowe has to try and roll this ball back himself, and he has done so. Cross kick from Damien McKenzie goes to Atino Nanasatoro, who was almost looking into the sun for that one, but he's given it a big boot downfield. Cleaning that one up the back is Corey Toole, who now does put the ball into touch about 35 metres out. It's 10 p.m. Oh, Okay, so not quite as big of a night as I anticipated, but still probably a relatively big night for yourself. Hopefully you did get to meet nice, friendly people out and about. They have fun. George Dyer now. Ball has been taken at line out time. The Chiefs actually going with that short option, just throwing to the prop at the front. Xavier Rowe. Now going back across to the right-hand side. Tupavai is there. Rowe again. Back into the pocket to Damien McKenzie. Does put the ball up high. Waiting for this one to come down. It's going to be swirling in the breeze. But slapped back by Liam Coombs-Fabley. And keep on doing that, calling him Lewis for some reason. And also half-time New Zealand Sevens are up 12 points to 7. They certainly are. See whether or not they can continue. Etena Nanasatoro. Brilliant run inside ball to Xavier Rowe. And that will be the first try of the match for the Chiefs. They've cut the defence open of the Brumbies. They are looking very strong throughout the first 8 minutes of this game. Score prediction, everyone. If I had to predict, I would probably say, I'm going to be honest. I would say probably 30-24 in favour of the Chiefs. And that's not just because of the 8 points that have been scored here. I was always of the mindset that it's going to be an extremely close game. I'm a little bit worried about giving the Brumbies 24, though, because we haven't seen a huge amount of their attack, but when they've had their moments, they haven't looked too bad at all. So, optimism. I think that they will come back at some point. It's just I think the Chiefs will get a few more points and get themselves that victory. A great try from Xavier Rowe. I have the Chiefs by 15. Says Pedzablaze, and 24 points to 17 in favour of the Chiefs, says Lachlan. But McKenzie is able to add the extras and make the score now 10 points to 0 in favour of the Chiefs. Looking very dominant at the moment. But the Brumbies, they are a fighting side. They got through to the semi-finals last year, like I mentioned. That was due to beating some very, very tough opposition in 39-23 to the Chiefs. Says Bully Guy. It's probably not a bad shout, to be honest, in terms of a scoreline. Nicely taken by Damien McKenzie inside of the 22. Good communication between him and Coombs-Fabling. And 37-24 in favour of the Chiefs, says Gus. Tell you what, we're gonna take all of these and we're gonna star them and see who's closest at the end of the game. So anyone who hasn't already, be sure to put your prediction in the chat. See who does get the closest. But Noah Lodesio now with the ball in hand on the halfway line for the Brumbies, looking to make those few extra metres. Good work in the breakdown from Sean Stevenson, but doesn't have his hands on the ball, rather the player. Lonergan goes across now, first receiver. Lena Cattell goes to Andy Muirhead. Another big shot on him. At the moment, everyone getting driven backwards. Hooper trying to bust his way through, but he's tackled in a very effective one. Now, wide cut-out pass, going almost over the top. Corey Toole with a chip and chase, just like he did in the sevens. And he picks it up as well, Corey Toole. Bit of individual brilliance from him. And he's scored the try for the Brumbies. The Chiefs did not see that one coming. Got 2 tries last week, like they've said. Now goes on and scores the first try of the match for the Brumbies here. It is exactly what they were after. A great wide cut-out pass. Chipped him behind Corey Toole. Just uses his body well up against Coombs-Fabling. Gets the perfect bounce of the ball. And it sits up for him. Chips it over. And does score the try. What a tool, says Pinks. And there as well. But yeah, bit of absolute brilliance from Corey Toole there. I'm going to say 42-14 to the Chiefs. I know nothing about Super Rugby. That's probably, to be fair, if the Brumbies don't score a few more tries, like the Chiefs have got the potential of getting quite a few points, but then at the same time, it could be quite a close fixture between these two sides. Now lining up this kick for Noah Lodesco. Will only be 15 metres out, straight out in front of the post, so no worries whatsoever here for him. Talking about the brightness of Corey Toole's boots. And that kick has now gone over. Nice bit of work here. The score It's now going to be 7 points to 10. This is going to be pretty close, I would say, between these two sides. If it continues, 40-ish Chiefs, Brumbies 30-ish. Does that count? Says Nazi Williams. We'll put you down for 30 to 40 in terms of the scoreline, but I don't know if it completely counts. But we'll allow it because I don't mind you. Now ball available for the Brumbies to be able to use here. And also, I like your shirt pattern. Nice look, Gamish, bro. Says Rochelle. Thank you very much, mate. Now kicked high by Ryan Lonergan. It's gone into touch. Sean Stevenson considers. He's still considering it. They will not do it in the end. They're going to go with a quick line out. That's a set play that we haven't really seen from too many sides. Get the line out nicely set early and then bring it to the line at full speed. Here comes Itinaina Satoro. The ball's just slipped out of the fingertips there. Means that it will be the try. Sorry, not the try. Lonergan now kicks this one downfield. It's slightly swirling towards the touchline and it does go into touch in the end. Good work from the Brumbies defensively to be able to get themselves that turnover. Definitely when the Chiefs were throwing just caution to the wind. Full steam ahead, looking cool. Says Michelle, that was one of the reasons that I wore it though, was pretty much because it got extremely hot in here yesterday. So I was working on the theory that if I can get a shirt that is going to be as cool as possible in terms of temperature, that would be exactly what we go with. A nice drive forward there. Oh, Damien McKenzie puts the kick up high. Beautifully taken by Andy Muirhead. Searching for this ball, it is Ryan Lonergan, Chiefs Mana. Says Mako Vunipola. And that's the thing, after working so hard up against the Crusaders last game, they will want to definitely go full steam ahead. And this one, there's a little knock on there though from the Brumbies in the breakdown. That is not what they would have been after. Anyone wondering at the moment in terms of the odds for this game, the Chiefs are considered favourites as Richie Mo'unga injured. He is actually playing overseas, so he will not be available for the Crusaders all throughout the season. And also, I believe, won't be available for the All Blacks either. Big upset for the Crusaders. Says Andrew, yeah, to lose by 13 to the Waratahs, like, to be honest, to lose to the Waratahs early on in the season, it wasn't the end of the world for them, if that makes sense. But to lose by such a margin, I think, will really sting for the Crusaders, and they will not be happy about it one bit. Now we have got the scrum feed. It's in favour of the Chiefs due to that little knock on we saw from Ryan Lonergan. Now Luke Jacobson going back across. Damien McKenzie with the flat pass to Anton Leonard-Brown round the back at Itinaina Satoro. Our wife for Lewis. Liam Coombs-Fabling. I don't know why I keep on calling him Lewis. I can't even think of a Lewis. Lewis Ludlam? It's probably the only Lewis is that his name? Lewis? That's the question, ladies and gentlemen. Current rugby player whose name is Lewis. Let me know. And Hamish, the Chiefs are going to win. How are you? Says Kevin. I'm doing very well, mate. And how about the Tars beating the Satyrs? Woohoo, how good. Now back across. Anton Leonard-Brown with the wide cut-out pass to Samapini Finau. Being taken down well against Chiefs win Super Rugby. Super Rugby Blues versus Chiefs final. More space. Sean Stevenson out wide. And Itinaina Satoro, he will get the job done this time. And it's another try for the Chiefs here, 16 minutes into the game. And at the moment, it's just end-to-end stuff between these two sides. One team will score, then the other go, oh, hang on, we're supposed to be the next team. Good step from Liam Coombs-Fabling. Big shot on him. Lewis reset, that is true. Although going to the NFL, of course, Courtney Laws close. I mean, Laws is kind of close to Lewis when you really think about it. And 5,678 points to 14 is the prediction there from Jalotho. And Crusaders weak Lost lot in play, says Bhavani. And the Chiefs minus 7.5. Fiji is not like Fiji against Moana Pacifica. Yeah, unfortunately, there were only those small moments that we saw the Fijian drawer really stepping up. And most of the time, it was just a little bit too little too late for the Fijian drawer. Damien McKenzie now to line up this kick after he's, of course, done his smile. And it is drifting. It's hit the post and it's come back out. So the score now will be 15 points to 7 in favour of the Chiefs. Even though the scoreboard will not update at the moment, unfortunately. And how there have been a long day streaming, eh? A Chiefs winner by 15. I reckon Brumbies are a pretty tight team, though. Says Bear. Of course, we have still got the game around the corner between the Reds and the Hurricanes. No watch Denver versus Lakers as well. Says Bhavani. And the Brumbies will score. Luke Jacobson. Good shot coming in on him. Xavier Rowe now. Going across to the left-hand side, do you have the team sheets? One moment, we will go like this and like that. So this is the lineup for the Chiefs. So Ollie Norris, Bradley Slater, and George Dye in the front row. I think one of those three is going to score a try in this game. I've just got a feeling that we might see a big forward driving towards the try line. And to be fair, Dye did have his opportunity just a little bit ago, but did let it slip. Currently in possession, it is the Brumbies with Ryan Lonergan. Passes out wide to Corey Toole, who has knocked that ball on. It's actually come off the arm of Sapsford. And then for the Brumbies, this is the lineup that they've gone with. Like I mentioned, Toole scoring early. Valentini, we've hardly actually seen him at this point of the contest. Ryan Lonergan, Noah Lolesio, a good young combo for the Brumbies. And I there, Kiwi lads, just gone home from work. Chiefs in front. And also Sevens finally score. New Zealand 19 versus Canada 7. Does Will Jordan still play for the Crusaders? He does, although he is currently injured. So sadly will not be back for the rest of the season. Don't know much about the Aussie teams, but that Waratahs performance was quite impressive. Good for rugby. Says Polly Guy. And yeah, it's always beneficial when games between New Zealand and Australian sides do end up going in favour of the Aussies, just because it also builds a little bit more hype for that Bledisloe Cup, which is not too far away either. You're going to do the Black Ferns quarterfinal in the Rugby Sevens in the finals. Says Kevin. It's going to be tricky for some of the matches. I think that the Black Ferns are actually going to be playing soon, aren't they? Or is it tomorrow that they do end up playing the 3 games for the women's side of things? But I'm not sure about the quarters, but hopefully we'll be able to cover something in the near future. Sounds like a cracking game. So when you're 45, 10 p.m. is a big night out, so I'm off to bed. See you next weekend for the resumption of the Six Nations night, says Yvonne. So we will see you later on, but thank you very much for popping in. Ushlin Ikatau is back. Highly rate that bloke. Cool to have Noah Lolesio back as well. Hopefully he can brush off his past bad performances. Come back stronger. Does Ravovo still play for the draw? I think he does. We haven't seen him play yet, though, is the only thing. We have got the Amesborough last night cricket match. Tell us something about that. How many runs he scored and took wicket? Nah, didn't get to bowl. Also didn't really bat that well. Then got run out. So that was slightly unfortunate. And now, Xavier Rowe going across to Ramika Poihapi, who drives his legs, getting driven backwards there by Lena Katau. On the halfway line here for the Chiefs. Already 20 minutes through on this contest. Kalen Boshier gets the ball away to the hooker. McKenzie kicks it up high. Going right across the field. Beautifully taken by Corey Toole, who once again finds the offload to Noah Lolesio. The ball's stripped in the breakdown by the Chiefs. And we will have ourselves another scrum feed here. And there are going to be quite a few of those throughout this match, I would assume. Just kind of the trend that we've had for Super Rugby. And sadly, when you see one, you normally see about 5 or 6 happen relatively close. So something that they have been trying to do for Super Rugby is keep the games ticking along quickly rather than having too much time eaten up by the stoppages of set play. We'll go like this and like that. There we go. So currently the odds, the way that this one sits, ladies and gentlemen, for this contest, they are sitting $6.50 underdogs, the Brumbies, whereas the Chiefs are $1.10 favourites. A little bit similar to what we would normally see at the start of the game, although I think maybe not quite as much of an underdog as some anticipated for the Brumbies, being down by 8. Now Anton Leonard-Brown goes across to Xavier Rowe. Sama Penifino couldn't find his next offload. Xavier Rowe now goes to Damien McKenzie, who fends off one, goes through another, tries to go over the top of the big man, Tom Hooper. That was an interesting choice of opposition to try and run over. Ball still available for Ollie Norris, I should say. The ball's gone into touch. Pass was on for Atina Nanasatoro out wide, but doesn't end up receiving it. The Chiefs have to watch out for Nick White, says Jalofa, although Nick White is actually at the Western Force at the moment. He did make the transfer last year, or like the end of last season. So, yeah, they don't have to worry about him too much for this game, but the Western Force game, of course, it will be one to certainly keep an eye on. And bro, Hurricanes versus Red game also today. I was watching line up that game. Says Michelle. Yeah, it should be an entertaining game. I feel like I've talked about the fact that I feel this game will be the closer of the two matches. But I think that that game between the Hurricanes and the Reds will be the higher scoring game. And of course, with the fact that we are sitting here already seeing quite a few points on the board, means we are in for a good day of Super Rugby. Nice inside ball from Luke Jacobson. Just a little bit of a loose carry from Manakai Selby-Rickett, but he has been able to regather. Now back across, Xavier Rowe. Little flick on the inside from Damien McKenzie. Works perfectly for the Chiefs. Sean Stevenson moves that a little bit further forward. Off to the left-hand side, Anton Leonard-Brown. Dragged down low by Luke Raymer. In fact, it's the youngster Kale. Couldn't get his turnover. You're not on the ball, says James Dolman, so that is why he didn't give him a penalty. Bradley Slater moving to 30 out from the line here for the Chiefs. Anton Leonard-Brown breaks through one tackle. Can't get through Rob Valentini. A very high tackling percentage. A little bit of a juggle from Damien McKenzie. But still available for Atene Nanai-Satoro. Over the ball. No, couldn't quite get it. That seems to be the trend at the moment for the Brumbies. They're getting into the breakdown, but they haven't been able to get that turnover that they need. Quick hands on the outside for Kalen Boshier. Somehow stays in the field of play. Now Xavier Rowe again, going back across to the right-hand side to George Dyer. Charges straight at Rob Valentini. Now loop and play from Liam Coombs-Fabling, a long way off his wing. Chiefs at the 7th place. Says Jalotho, although of course if they win this game, they will go up a lot more. They were one of the few teams that didn't receive the bonus point in their victory last week up against the Crusaders, but that is because, of course, they were taking on the Crusaders. Xavier Rowe going off the Tupavai, couldn't get the offload. Now Xavier Rowe manages to get the offside advantage in his team's favour. I don't think that he actually wanted the game to stop, though, by milking it. They managed to get the penalty, though, for his team. Spotted, there was the opportunity to go for it. And that's exactly what he did. Blues at the first. Says Jalotho. Of course, they have had that extra game up their sleeve for the Blues. But the way that the current table sits, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone wondering, this is how it is sitting. The Blues sitting at the top of the bunch. The Hurricanes do have the potential of overtaking them, depending on how their game up against the Reds goes. Same can be said about the Reds being able to overtake them. And then the Brumbies, the only other side that have potential, unless the Chiefs win this game by about 30 points, 29 points would do enough for them. Just showing Joe Schmidt there, the new coach in charge of the Wallabies, hoping to turn it around for them. The kick is good from the Chiefs, and that is now going to make the score a little bit more in their favour. One moment, we will go like this. It is 18 points to 7. Now, every time I try and update the scoreboard, you will notice that my face seems to freeze just that little bit. Hopefully that is not something that happens often throughout the stream, but it seems to only be when I try and update the scoreboard. Nicely taken by Tupavai, tackled by Corey Toole inside of the 22 at the moment for the Chiefs here. We've got there, what did you think about the Crusaders game? I thought that the Waratahs, they ended up doing extremely well throughout that game to keep the pressure on. Crusaders, this is another line break for the Chiefs. Sean Stevenson, inside ball to Xavier Rose, sells the dummy, going himself, now looked for the pass and he's knocked it on. Just bad decision making, unfortunately, and brilliant bit of effort from Nolo Lesio to be able to cut it off and stop the hat-trick chance. Sorry, not the hat-trick chance. Could have been his second. Sean Stevenson, great break. They went on the inside to Xavier O. Just needed to pass that ball. Got it wrong with the timing, and that was almost a try. Crusaders at the 10, Moana Pacifica 9, says Jalotho. And there, but yeah, the Crusaders, they showed that late fight back that normally we see from a Crusaders team, but unfortunately they just made it so that they needed too many points in the last kind of closing moments of that game. I'm not watching the game, but listen to your commentary. It sounds like the Brumbies are hardly have any possession. That would be correct. They are really not getting the opportunities early in this game. We are already 27 minutes through, and it's felt like 25 minutes of this has been the Chiefs' ball. So, yeah, something that has to change. Oh, Brumbies get the free kick, though. Number 8, shoulders off, went early. Is that a penalty or is that just a free kick? Either way, they are going to be kicking it for the corner. Greedy, says Spider-Mech. I'd like to think his intentions the whole time was going to be to pass, but unfortunately he just didn't find the right time to be able to do so. Brumbies is under pressure, says Jalotho there. Now line out throw here for the Chiefs. Bradley Slater to throw it in over the top. Nicely taken by McKenzie. Inside ball to Atena. Nana Satora. They've cut them open again. And D-Mac will get himself the try there. 28 minutes in. And the Chiefs have got another one. I feel a try coming up, says Novmum. That was pretty much right as the try was scored. So if you are ahead, of course, you would have already seen that one. But great try being scored there by the Chiefs. It was just off the line out. They went to the back. They saw that the space was available for that inside ball, and they do not mess up that opportunity. They strike again here, the Chiefs. This is starting to get a little bit more one-sided than a lot of people were anticipating, and a lot of people would have been hoping. But Damian McKenzie getting on the try sheet for the first time today. Now gets the opportunity to convert his own kick. And it's looking pretty handy. Of course, it's from straight out in front. But 25 points to 7. That's the kind of score you expect to see at full time between these two sides, not within the first half of the fixture. They've just said it was poor defence from the Brumbies, who normally, like last year, they were real good in the defensive side of things. Well, we will go like that and like that. I'm just also trying to work out how I can fix it freezing when I have the scoreboard updating, but I don't think it's going to tell me, unfortunately, here. 25 points to 7, though, the lead for the Chiefs. Luke Jacobson now back in position. Xavier O going to the right-hand side to Tupavai, and the mighty Chiefs inflict another Atayaha strike. It's another penalty, and jeepers, this will become an ugly one for the Brumbies. Kenzie's great to watch, man. Dangerous. He'd go good in the NRL, says Naz Williams. Speaking of the NRL, they are currently playing the opening game of the NRL season. It has taken place in the USA. This is a mismatch time for a cuppa. They've just said the poor discipline as well has not helped them in this contest. The Brumbies giving away penalties at the wrong times, which just allows the Chiefs to continue making their way forward. And still router problems, perhaps. It could be the router. I think it's also just my PC. It's getting a little bit old, unfortunately. It might start to go downhill very soon. But Brumbies in position. Rob Bellatini. Tackled by Tupavai, who slightly went for the strip. What about Blues versus Chiefs? That is a wee way away from taking place. It would be a good game when it does. One's going to be slapped back by Samipini Finau, but it sits up for Satsford. Back across to the right-hand side. Cut out pass from Norolesio. Now Tom Wright goes on the inside. Oh, that was a big shot coming in on Tom Wright late. From, I think it was a Dino Nana Satoro. Now going for that counter-ruck. They don't manage to get it in the end there. Now scrum feed for the Brumbies again. We're seeing a lot of scrums throughout this first half, but saying that both sides are playing at quite a fast tempo. So that has meant a few more handling errors have come into the equation. Maybe a bit more than they would have liked. Sounds like James Dolman just having a bit of a chat to one of the players as well, making sure that they know exactly what's expected of them when it comes to the line-out. D-Max a solid man, all right. He gets smoked in tackles and gets up, shakes it off. Carries on, not bad for a wee man. Says Marco, yeah, he's one of those guys that will take the shot from the big man if it means that someone else gets the gap. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, some teams are like that in World Rugby, but not many. Like Damian McKenzie, in terms of the amount of terrible-looking hits that he takes. Like, a big man will just fly into him, and then he just gets up and goes, right, well, at least we kind of gained some meters. Sounds like Ollie Satsford now. Bit of work there, unfortunately, though. Once again, another mistake made from, this time, Rob Valentini. Now back into the pocket, Damian McKenzie goes for the cross kick. Bradley Slater not quite able to hone it in. And half-time in the quarterfinal, France 14 and 0 to the USA, says Gus. And why is the stadium so empty? Unfortunately, that is the case whenever they have the Super Round. Sadly, they just can't fill up a stadium. And it is a massive shame, because it's one of those ones that if they could get a decent amount in attendance for the Melbourne games, then at least they'd have an argument to keep on having the Super Round there. But every time that they have the Super Round, it does seem to fail each and every time. There is an advantage in favour of the Brumbies. Now Ollie Satsford, good low tackle made on him by Luke Jacobson. Now back across to the left-hand side. Little pop pass up to Tom Wright. And that's why I think McKenzie goes good in league, says Naz Williams. And also Finau and the Scottish lad had a dust-up at training, didn't they? Which Scottish lad are we talking? We talking Finlay Christie? He's the only Scottish lad that I can think of, but I'm sure there is another one that I should be able to think of. They had it in Hamilton, it would sell out. Exactly right. Same with when we saw the Fijian Drua game up against Moana Pacifica. That is a game that for certain would have done extremely well had it been in a Pacific Island environment, whether that's Samoa, whether that's Fiji. Like, either way, you'd still sell it out. Whereas in Melbourne, you get 5,000 people watching, and it doesn't have that same feel. And to be fair to those 5,000, it was brilliant seeing the support for the Fijian Drua and Moana Pacifica overseas. Guys in the forwards, forgot his name. Oh, what's his name? For the Chiefs. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I can only see Finlay Christie now. Now, moving just a little bit further forward for the Brumbies. Noah Lolesio offloads it back. Oh, it's stolen by Sean Stevenson. Now, it's very important that he got both hands and regathered that ball, or else it could have ended up being a bit of trouble for Stevenson. We'll go into touch, and now once again, another Brumbies line out. Like we said already, this game a little bit more one-sided than a lot of people wanted to see. I'm going to have a quick look again and see what the odds are. At the moment, I would assume they will be very in favour of one of these two sides, and I can give you a hint, it's not the Brumbies. Currently, the odds are $13 under. That's not bad. To be honest, I thought that it would be a lot higher for the Brumbies in this contest due to the fact that they are down by 18 points. Can you explain that more, Hamish? These are two top teams and the stadium is empty. Says Rugby, so it is because it's in Melbourne. It's not because of the teams that are playing. It is because of the lack of support for rugby union. Is rugby on the decline in New Zealand? Is that why the stadium is so empty? Fun fact, once again, it's in Melbourne. It's in Australia, this contest. Each round, or each year, they have a super round in Melbourne. I get what you're trying to do in terms of saying that rugby's dying in New Zealand, but in this case, it is in Australia. So unfortunately they go to a region that is heavily NRL based, and that always makes it very tricky to be able to fill up the stands. Melbourne isn't a rugby city, while the entire Australia isn't. Also, Canberra, Ag, Brumbies and Waikato Chiefs playing in Melbourne like supporters for these other teams. And that's a class shirt, says John MC. Thank you. I thought you guys were going to rip me apart about the shirt yesterday, to be honest. But so far, I mean, we've had one person say it looked like their pajamas, but other than that, it's been pretty nice overall. Seems like they are struggling just a little bit at the moment, the Brumbies, though, to be able to find their tempo in this game and kind of find the right, I guess, rhythm. Probably the best way of describing it. They are inside of their own 22, though, and they have to kick it back downfield once more. 37 minutes in. And so rugby is on the decline. That is on the decline in Australia then. Usually the home team is listed first, hence why I thought it was in New Zealand first in the scoreboard. But yeah, it is the super round, which just means everyone takes place from the exact same place. But yeah, it's always a failure in terms of the super round. No one has been able to get people to the games in Melbourne, no matter how many games of rugby you put on. You forgot to mention the lower testosterone male levels of Australian males. Says Mark Blue. It wouldn't mean that they wouldn't be able to go to a game. In Melbourne is AFL. They wouldn't even know what rugby is, says Joe Webby. And yeah, a lot of empty seats in the stands for this one. Only 37 and a half minutes through, not an island. Rugby is growing, says John MC. Yes, and that, says Marco. Now, throw in for the line out. Lachlan Lonergan gets it right there. Alicio back across to Andy Muir. The cutout pass. They can go to the game in dresses. I mean, there is a dress-up day, I think. Or at least I thought there was, but I think that's just in the 7th. Little chip in behind for the Brumbies. Ball doesn't set up. Xavier Rowe, it is loose. Damian McKenzie does well, but I think... Muir was very close to being able to get that ball, but only 2 minutes remaining now in the half. That's why the Wallabies are useless. Says Spider Mech. Or partially charged down off the hand of Tom Hooper. Ryan Lonergan shifts it out wide to Noel Alessio. Almost at a standing start. Goes around Manakai Selby Ricker, but he's lined up from Jacobson and driven into the turf. How long is that going on? Or has that been going on in Australia? And it's the same thing happening in New Zealand rugby and their decline too. It's been about 20 years, I would say, for Australian rugby that it's been going a little bit wrong. New Zealand-wise, I mean, they get numbers, but they probably don't get the same numbers as they used to. Oh, nice offload out the back. Oh, it's a huge shot from Summer Penifino, almost right on the chin of Corey Toole. I don't know whether or not they will be checking that one a little bit later on. Another run from Tom Hooper. Gets the ball off. Noel Alessio to Andy Muir. Cut out past to Luke Raymer, who was waiting for it out on the wing, tries to drive through Liam Coombs Fabling. Does take him down again. Now the Brumbies. 6 phases in a row for the Brumbies, almost the most that they've had. Australia never take their rugby seriously. Union, says Spider Mech there. Now 20 seconds left. The Brumbies need a try if they want to get back into this contest. My prediction was 30 points to 24. Why is it on the decline in New Zealand, mate? I'm not in charge, but I would say it's because there's just a little bit less interest in it than there once was. Grassroots-wise, rugby is struggling a bit more. They used to have a lot more numbers playing, and as kids kind of go off to different sports, whether that's basketball, football, hockey, you just start to see a lot less people playing rugby at lower levels. That's going to actually be half-time, though. And this contest, kids in Australia and New Zealand are enjoying playing rugby league, all action non-stop type rugby, find the kicking, duels, scrums, lineouts, etc. in rugby to be boring. Refs and TMOs adding to this too now. And yeah, I know a lot of people in New Zealand, and probably it's the same in Australia, that with so many TMO stoppages and so many new law changes that are slowing down the game, like people are just losing interest. And less interest can happen when certain teams dominate, says Heaney. And also the dramatic increase in Sydney's Event mirrors the rugby decline, says Mark. I was at the MCG last year when the ABs played the Wallabies. There was a massive crowd, around 85,000, so rugby is still popular. Yeah, I think that the Wallabies are still able to bring in crowds. But, of course, a lot of Kiwis living in Australia, could they do that if it was Australia versus Wales or Australia versus Japan? Nobody wants to go to a game where most already knows what the result will be before game starts. And sports on the decline due to match fixing, says Bhavani. And also, rugby league is more of a young person thing. The crowds are a lot more rowdy. Silly signs in the crowd. People dress up in silly costumes. Where union crowds to be old and reserved. That is true. I had an example of that firsthand, which I'm not going to mention, but pretty much we went to a game intending to film some sort of video, which involved being in some sort of costume per se, and I got some abuse, that is for sure. We actually left at halftime because I was worried I was going to get probably beaten up by a gang. And money is everything today, says Bhavani. And we bring in the crowd, says John MC. I believe it's the rules that drove the people away. And New Zealanders going diverse while also losing Kiwis to Australia, says Spinks. And yeah, like that's the thing. Like football numbers have increased drastically in New Zealand. Cricket's doing, relatively well as well. You've got hockey and basketball. And it seems to be nowadays a lot more kids are focusing on just one sport. Whereas back in the older days, you used to play like rugby, you play cricket, you play whatever you could. Why so many are so concerned about crowd numbers? It's not as if rugby stops if people don't show up. Are the league players in Australia getting more money than the union guys? They certainly are. But that also probably drives players towards rugby league. And just because the academies for rugby union isn't quite what it should be, does make it tricky. Up the Chiefs, says Josh. Yeah, the Chiefs doing pretty decently throughout this first half. I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, during the second half, we've got a little bit of a weird scenario that is going to be taking place. Pretty much what is going on is there is a match between the Fijians and the Spanish in the Rugby Sevens. Some of you will be like, why does that matter and how is that relevant? Well, we are actually going to be popping away for that 20-minute break and doing the live stream between Fiji and Spain and then coming back for the remainder of the half. Now, it doesn't kick off until 5:10 New Zealand time, so that is 25 minutes away. So we should be back by the end of this matchup between these two sides. The 50-22 call was rough. Ball was quick before the hooker went. And yes, Spider Mick, the over pulsing of the rules has certainly turned off a lot of people. And also the price to go to a game of rugby now has got a bit ridiculous. Like in certain places, other places it's pretty nice, it doesn't break the bank, but some places she's a bit pricey. I don't know what they were charging for the Super Round, but the fact that they haven't got a full stadium makes me think, for one, maybe it was too much, and then also alongside that, maybe they just haven't quite got it right in terms of the location. They need to start doing it somewhere other than Melbourne, whether that's in, I was about to say Auckland, but if you have to, you might still get a few more in attendance. Fiji, I'd love to see a Super Round from there. Sevens final, quarterfinal 1. France 14 to the 0 of the USA. And also we've got the over officiating. It's definitely put folks off a bit. I, for the first time in my life, watched the NRL Grand Final last year. It was awesome spectacle, way better than the World Cup final, says Marco. And State of Origin is another thing that's pretty awesome to watch when it comes to the rugby league. I think that we'll be covering it this year on the channel as well, me and Dad. It's kind of the tradition of the channel. One moment. There we go. And leads to Meat Heady. But the thing is, yes, there are a lot of big knocks and whatnot, but you still get to see those entertaining tries. And Drew Hamish, DRS slowing up rugby and cricket, says Kevin. Yeah, so far in this game, I don't think we've seen the TMO involved. which is ideal, and hopefully that is the way that it stays throughout the second half. We will look through at some of the stats, though, to do with this first half of the game. Exactly who had the momentum. Fun fact, it's the Chiefs. And good seeing your dad comment. Some league games, he knows his stuff. And if Union is on the decline in New Zealand and Australia, it's only a matter of time before it's dominated. And the Northern Hemisphere says rugby. Yeah, although the thing is, like, I can understand what you're saying, but it still seems to be international-wise, like, the Southern Hemisphere still seems to be doing very well. And I know that you don't want to hear this, but, I mean, South Africa winning that last World Cup, that was the opportunity for the Northern Hemisphere to say, hey, we're better than you guys. We're going to be able to show exactly, like, why Northern Hemisphere rugby is the one to watch. But sadly, they just weren't quite able to do it. Ireland went out in the quarterfinals. And sadly, we did actually see France, the host nations, also go out there. And that seems to have had a massive impact on the way that France have been playing. Time, says John MC. It's currently 4:50 p.m, but the second half will be about 5 to 10 minutes away. Looking through at some of the stats for the first half, 50 plus metres made by 3 Chiefs players, those being Atino Satoro, 59 metres made by Xavier Rowe, and then also Sean Stevenson with the 82 metres made. Northern Hemisphere have been saying that for years. And also we have got their league also tend to let the players play the game, more so the Union, or more so than Union. The TMO shave barely any input in the outcomes of the league, whereas in Union they go through everything, looking at things, being teams. And we have got their one Northern Hemisphere team made it to the semis. As I said, matter of time now, not right now, Hamish, says a rugby in there. But yeah, I guess as long as we see some sort of, I guess, success throughout the July internationals, like, of course it won't happen overnight. And they've got to wait another 4 years to be able to get that next chance in the Australian Rugby World Cup. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what numbers, because of course there's no denying Northern Hemisphere games at the moment in terms of the Six Nations. They dominate in terms of numbers at the game. And I think viewership numbers are actually a lot stronger in some regards. But then saying that, if you're comparing that to Super Rugby, of course, an international versus a domestic competition, URC versus Super Rugby, I believe URC still takes the advantage. But, yeah, a matter of time, won't happen. Says Chuck T. I used to watch League, but once again, the officials put me off. This is when the Warriors first started in the NRL. It's all changed now. Seems to have a better balance, says Joe Webby. Oh, I'll tell you what, the Warriors in the NRL, you just knew that they were going to lose because they seemed to just, like, this was a while ago as well, everything went against them. And people just hated watching the Warriors play because you knew eventually, no matter how well they went, something was going to go wrong. Currently second half, just around the corner. Of course, the next game just around the corner as well. Hurricanes versus the Reds. And also, however, the decline isn't too bad. Union's still a big thing, just not as dominant as it was, say, in the early 90s, early 2000s. Heaps of Kiwi kids still play both codes now. So here's Marco. And yeah, I know that they were always talking about the grassroots side of things. So Australia Rugby Union is really declining. And we have Lions Tour there next year. Their next World Cup there in 2027. I'm not sure too many Northern Hemisphere fans will be flying to Australia for the World Cup. You'd be surprised. Because theoretically, what you've just said is Australia is struggling. So surely, as a Northern Hemisphere fan, you'd feel like you've got a much better chance of winning that World Cup. So surely you want to see your team win their first ever World Cup, unless you're England, who, of course, did it in 2003. So the games might be empty. Says Rugby. Damien is a class act. Mackenzie says John MC and Harp of the Warriors playing in the Australian competition. Aussie refs and TMO. They'll never let the Warriors win the NRL. Says Mark. I mean, last year looked like it was going to be their year. Up the Waz was trending all around New Zealand, but just not quite able to finish it off. And mate, it's a 24-hour flight and costs way more. says Rugby. I mean, we saw heaps of Southern Hemisphere fans make the travel to France to witness the Rugby World Cup. And you underestimate how much some fans are passionate about their sides. Like the British and Irish Lions tour, even though, like, yes, Australia are out of form, people are still going to go to the games because we've got to remember the last British and Irish Lions tour was ruined because of the pandemic. We didn't get to see crowds in attendance for what were going to be some of the best games that we were going to get to see in rugby for quite some time because it was South Africa versus the British and Irish Lions in that series. But yeah, we didn't get to see a crowd, so I can guarantee you British and Irish Lions side coming to Australia, you're going to see a lot of people in attendance. And here's the Northern Hemisphere people in Australia. They love the weather and want to get away from all the immigrants overtaking their countries. Well, okay. So the games will definitely have plenty of Northern Hemisphere folk and a layoff in Dubai to Oz. Says John, and it doesn't matter who coached Australian Rugby Union. Are they not good enough? Rennie, have a go. Jones, have a go. Now Schmidt going to give it a go. The Irish tour to New Zealand and the Irish tour to the Box is more entertaining than the Lions tour. Says Rugby. But the British and Irish Lions tour, in terms of prestige, you still are going to see a lot of people. It seems like you're in a very negative mood today, Rugby. Did someone like piss on your fish and chips or something? And Lions should be scrapped, says Rugby. Nah, but it's still, like, it's still out. The Irish players dominate. Well, that means that the other sides need to make sure that they're stepping up. And you still see some brilliance from those other Six Nations teams. Of course, currently Ireland are in some very good form, so depending on who the coach is, we may see a lot of Irish sides. They should give the Southern Hemisphere Lions a go. They never allow that Southern Hemisphere too good, says Marco. Yeah, there have been rumours about maybe going for it. Just don't dominate in the World Cup. Take a seat, bro, says Chuck T. Now just around the corner from the second half, getting underway. I don't know about you, but for me, any chance to watch games of rugby, I'm happy. Like British and Irish Lions tour, you're saying get rid of it. That's a few extra games that we wouldn't get to see in a rugby calendar. And for me, I don't want that. I want to see as much rugby as I can. You know, so it's one of those ones. Andy Farrell was the Lions coach. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of Irish players in there, but you're still going to see the few scattered players in, whether that's Duan van der Merwe, or whether that's going to be maybe a couple of these other Welsh young players who are just coming up in the ranks. Joe Schmidt, the Wizard of Oz, says Shane Newton. Go Brumbies go, says Green Zone Boy, and yes, says Robert. And there as well. Second half. They love to have a drawn-out halftime break on these Australian games. We have got there and should be coaching his native England. Hopefully, they break the bank and bring him back. It would be interesting to see how he gets on. Of course, I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, as well, there is the pre-match between, it is currently taking place between Argentina and Ireland. Argentina are leading that contest 7 points to 0 for their quarter-final. But the match that we are covering, Andy overrated, it's basically Leinster, says Rugby. Have you got anything nice to say, Rugby, today? Like, have you at least had a good day outside of complaining about everything that's happening in the rugby world? We've got their Brumbies will take it this year. Let's go, says Green Zone Boy. We're about to see as well with Scott Robinson what he can do, seeing as he was doing well. Love the shirt. There we go. There's some of that positivity we like to see. Yeah, Scott Robinson, what's he going to be able to do with the All Blacks? Because he has had such a dominant Crusaders side for so long. Now that he's not there, of course, a lot of the players aren't either, but the Crusaders are 2 losses from 2. Second half just about to start, though, for this game, ladies and gentlemen. This is Turtle Island, says Tamla. Tino Nana Satoro. Our showing him, he didn't quite get it right in the first half. Like I said, at 5:10 p.m. New Zealand time, we are going to be popping away. There will be a 20-minute patch where we will just have the scoreboard up on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Then after that, we are back for the final 10 or so minutes of this matchup. So it's a little bit of a weird reshuffle that we are going to be experiencing, but do bear with us. We will be back before the end of it. We've still got 10 minutes more of this one as well, I should mention. Later here, mate. I'm off to bed, says Rugby. We will see you later. Selby Rickett going up for that one. isn't able to take it cleanly, and it's actually going to be now Brumbies ball. What a typical island response. Ungrateful to what Andy has some of them, or some for them. So here's Marco, and also poor D-Mac. He'll have a target painted on his back as the Brumbies need to shut him down. Yeah, I'd agree. I feel like Damian McKenzie is definitely the gel that will hold this Chiefs backline together for the second half. Can't wait to see what Robinson does for the All Blacks. So here's Chuck T. Now going back to the short side, Ryan Lonergan gets it across. I'm just going to check, is the scoreboard, does it lag still? Or we might be all right. I might have managed to fix it. I've been a lot of noise within the Wallabies and Super Rugby Pacific once Smokin' Joe gets his house in order. Come on, Brumbies, you can do it. Now going back across to the left-hand side. Xavier Rowe, away to Tino Ninasatoro. Now flat run from the big man, Samapeni Finau. And come on, Brumbies, you can do it, says Green Zone. Damian McKenzie, chip and chase. No one really chasing it, though, so it is just a chip, I guess. Downfield from Tom Wright. Almost looks like he's skew with that one. Taken well by Atino Ninasatoro. Finds his offload away to Samapeni Finau. Now you're a Karen, says Marco there. Bradley Slater. Agree with that, Marco, says Chuck T. Jacobson inside ball to George Dyer. And the Chiefs, they want to strike early in the second half. Well claimed by Xavier Rowe. Finds the offload back to Kalen Boshi. At the moment, the Chiefs are actually playing this like the Sevens that we've been witnessing. A lot of offloads coming, trying to keep that ball alive and away from the breakdown. Pass from Damian McKenzie is less than ideal, and it's meant that the Brumbies have been able to clean that one up. Come on, the Chiefs. And also, shush, are you mad? Relax, lad, says a John MC. And also, come on, the Chiefs, says a Nov Mum there as well. And Tom Wright goes across to Rob Valentini. Now around the side, Tom Wright. They have actually got the penalty advantage, so they will go back for the original penalty. Number 5 offside, that being Tupo Vai. I think that they've got to go for the corner here, the Brumbies. They can't really afford to not attack. Like, yes, 3 points would be nice, but that still leaves you 15 points behind in total, which is too many. Can't make it back. They sit like that. Looks like Noel Alessio, he's got a bit of a bleeding nose. Got smashed in the challenge. Looks like he's going to be all right. To continue, and Chiefs Mana, let's put the Brumbies on the barbecue and smoke them, says Marco. It looks like the scoreboard's stuck. It is stuck because they haven't been scoring. Either of these sides, second half, scoreless at this point, but just around the corner, I think we are going to see a try. Now, just talking to Larkham, the Brumbies coach, talking about what they need to do here to get back into this contest. Now Noel Alessio kicking this one towards the touchline, and it doesn't look too bad. They'll be about 15 metres out from the try line. Maybe not quite as close as they would have liked to be, but it's still a good position to be on the field. Lachlan Lonergan. Oh no. Oh, okay, no, never mind. I thought James Dolman just gave a free kick to the Chiefs for them closing the gap, the Brumbies that is, but luckily it was Justin blowing the whistle to get them all reset. Luke Raymer going to the short side. Now there is going to be a penalty. Or Bradley Slater might have just got his teeth knocked down his throat. Didn't look flash at all. Looked like he really got rocked on his chin. Sisefo Kautai. Not back the 10 metres there. A little bit offside. Here's Bradley Slater. I'm just looking around to see whether or not he is continuing in this match. We didn't see him just yet. He has got a line-up throw that he would have to give. Put it in. Where is he? Yeah, he took a really big shot. We're going to see it from this angle here. Yeah, just knocked right on the side of the nose. Oh, looping play. McKenzie, beautiful ball to Anton Leonard-Brown. Finally, hands. I thought Jacobson had been instructed by Razor to play open side, but they keep playing him at 8. Says Marco Vunipola. Is that because maybe Artie Savia could have their numbers? No, probably not. I don't know what they're going to do in their loose forward trio. Chiefs were always going to win. More interested in seeing if there are smart mouth guard issues again. Smart mouth guard issues, says Heaney. Is that something that happened in the last game? Believe it or not, I didn't actually get to watch the full match last week because I was at a wedding. Not wearing this shirt, by the way, different one. I've always been booted into touch. Like I said, for this second half, there is going to be a patch where we do just have the scoreboard on the screen while I am popping away for that other live stream. Thrown in Lachlan Lonergan. Now gets it away to Ryan, his brother. Flat run from Rob Valentini. Mouthguard Smart, sorry. Oh yeah, that makes, sorry, I thought Smart Mouth Guard, and I thought that it was like someone was talking trash. It's later better than Taukiaho. I think they've both got their own skills. Taukiaho, definitely in terms of being a bulldozer, would be the one that you'd pick. Now Ryan Lonergan. The Brumbies creep their way towards the 22. I believe you look good wearing a gown, Hemi, says Spider Mick. I wouldn't guarantee that. Xavier Rowe back across to Ramika Boy, Happy Anton Leonard Brown, to Sean Stevenson. Oh, he's been dragged down by the collar there by the youngster Kale. No matter what, the Chiefs just seem to always be moving. Their backs always reshuffling, trying to find that next gap. As Robinson managed to dance around overseas eligibility rules. I'm not sure yet. I think he's trying to. But I don't know if New Zealand Rugby will agree that it's a good idea. All available again here. For Xavier Rowe goes to the right-hand side. Good shot on the ankles of George Dyer. And Razor Bringo Moong. Play for the ABs, please. Now nicely taken by Noah Lolesio. A little bit loose there, but has been regathered by the Brumbies. They seem like it's not from a lack of trying that they're down by 18 points. It's just, oh, that was a bad pass, and it's a knock-on as well. That's actually really bad. Unfortunately, another knock-on. Double knock-on here. And we are going to see a Chiefs scrum. Currently in the second half of the Argentina versus Ireland game, ladies and gents, it is 14 points to 10. That's not too bad from Ireland. Trying to keep it close and, of course, trying to look for that victory in that contest. Argentina are still favourites, though. Go Brumbies, go. And like it was a good idea to appoint Dancing Queen during the World Cup year, says Shane Newton. A couple more changes being made for the Brumbies. That will be James Slipper and Lachlan Lonergan. Both of them making their way from the field. Coaching the status is different than coaching the ABs. It certainly is. It'll take a lot. 2 yellow cards against Argentina as well in their game up against the Irish. They might have a decent shot here. Chiefs, they are close to that bonus point. They have scored 3 tries to be able to get themselves the bonus point in this game. They would need to win this game by 3 or more tries than their opposition. Yeah, Ireland have taken the lead up against Argentina. Argentina might get beaten by the Irish, ladies and gentlemen. A big push again here. It's going to be the advantage in favour of the Chiefs. Damien McKenzie, flat pass. Sean Stevenson. He was through the gap and he's dropped it in open play. He is utterly frustrated, as I have no idea how that happened. He was just running through easy as he liked. Does put the ball down. Don't jinx it, says John. Yeah, I probably just have, haven't I? By saying that Ireland would get the win. That was a massive yawn. And really go Ireland, says Spider Mick. But yeah, the next game that we are covering on the channel, ladies and gentlemen, is actually in about 1 minute's time. We are going to be popping over to the live stream between the Fijians and the Spanish. But we will leave this live stream running, and then we will be back for the final 10 minutes of this half. It's a bit confusing, but pretty much we had plans of having someone cover for me. That kind of fell through, so now it's just me trying to do 2 streams at once, which is quite difficult, I have learned. And Brumbies all day, every day, says Green Zone Boy. And also Really Go Island, says Spider Mick. And are there as well. Now the Brumbies going off to the short side. Noel Alessio goes to Satsford. Now Andy Muirhead almost managing to get through. For anyone who does want to stick around, it is greatly appreciated, of course. And then we will be back for the last 20 minutes, or sorry, the last 10 minutes. But we are also going over to another stream, so if you want to come over and have a look at that one while this one is still running, be sure to do so. But the penalty does go the way of the Brumbies. We are now going to do that switch that I mentioned, ladies and gents. So we will be back in 20 minutes. Sorry for the inconvenience. The scoreboard, it will still be updating, letting you know exactly who is winning this game. But we will be back in a very short moment. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We've just witnessed one of the biggest upsets that we have seen in the Sevens competition for a very long time. Fiji being defeated by Spain. But I've come back to this game and we see a little bit of the same of what we saw beforehand, which is the Chiefs being the more dominant of these two sides. Unfortunately, getting very one-sided. The Chiefs have currently got themselves the bonus point in play as well, ladies and gents. So doing very well indeed. But the next game just around the corner as well, Hurricanes versus the Reds. We will be covering that one on the channel, and we will not have any interruptions throughout that live stream. We will be covering from start to finish. So if you are new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Probably going to win the whole tournament, says St. Nick. I mean, they're certainly a big underdog. And Spain, that's the first time they've ever made it to a semi-final. The other side of things is Argentina got knocked out. Now Fiji's knocked out. So it's France, Ireland, Australia, France, Ireland, Spain, and the winner of the next contest. Now going off to the left-hand side here for the Brumbies. Offload from Len Ikatel. Trying to use their replacements, but it's stolen by the Chiefs. Been relentless throughout this game, not allowing the Brumbies play their natural game. I overestimated the Brumbies. I think a lot of people did. I'm one of those people. I thought it would be about a maybe 7-point difference between these two sides. I don't think many people saw it being a 34-point difference. And man, that's shocking. Fiji are the kings of sevens, and they got knocked out by the Spanish. And also, I like Tim, your friend, also doing the commentary here. Please, sometime you both commentary together. Stream it possible. It does get very tricky having two on the same stream, mainly because of the delay. Definitely because one of us could be watching a little bit ahead of the other. But, I mean, we've got the podcast each and every week, the Rugby Recap. If you do want to give that one a look. Now, nicely taken. And back across to the right-hand side here for the Brumbies. Tamati Tua. Moving forward just a little bit more. Here comes Jerome Brown after the 22. I think the big thing here for the Brumbies is to just get another try on the board. They managed to score one earlier on in the half. Since then, the Chiefs have scored a couple more of their own. And Chiefs belting up the Brumbies, says Marco, and I think the Chiefs might just win this. Yeah, I think they've got a good chance. It's kicked downfield and just staying in the field of play. One's gone into touch. Not able to claim that one for Damien McKenzie, who I think wanted to take that one quickly. Oh, Kaya or TMO on Cadron Neville. Kaya Rugby Podcast Show watching here. Definitely thanks for the updates, says Michelle. So this is actually when he initially took some big contact. He's actually still down, Cadron Neville. Checking for potential foul play against Jared Prophet. Here we go. Ooh. Hits him right on the chin. And it has dropped him pretty hard. Looking at this angle, this will show it. Not much dip and boom, yep. That's probably going to be a red card. Either way, it's definitely a yellow. And that is going to take him out of the remainder of this game. It's just more of the question of whether or not he will have more time that he is off the field than just this next few minutes. and now that would be a fight back for the Brumbies, says Gus. Yeah, yellow card for Prophet, and he will be on report. I believe that this one more than likely will be upgraded to the red card due to the head-on-head. And Jared Prophet looks like he hasn't even taken that knock. It was a tough one. Indeed, right on the jaw of Cadron Neville with the forehead. Currently, Australia versus Great Britain is sitting 7 points to 5 in favour of the Australians. However, men and budgie smugglers in the changing sheds, or at least in the tunnel here, by the looks of it. I said the Brumbies, they will get a different man back onto the field due to the sub, so that is Tom Hooper. Are you watching the next Super Rugby match, brother? We are indeed. We are covering it on the channel. The full match as well. We aren't popping away for any of it. The whole match between the Hurricanes and the Reds, we will be here doing the commentary. I'm trying to get this rolling more going here for the Brumbies. Couple players dropping to their knees, but overall, this one still looks strong for Billy Pollard. Decide to possibly cross that try line. Still available. No, it's not. They didn't get it out in time. Great defence off the rolling maul for the Chiefs. Nato Akoi is fired up about it. 2.5 minutes now remaining. We did go earlier in the stream. We went and covered the Spanish versus Fiji game. And I'll be honest, like, I know it's inconvenient for this one, but I'm glad that we did, just because, like, that was a historic win for Spain up against the Fijians. So it was quite cool that we got to commentate it after they pulled off the victory. But we are back now, and we are going to be back, of course, for the whole of the Hurricanes versus Reds match that's just around the corner. We have got the Amish Bro. Last times you do 4 combined video after that match. That also nice before, because everyone perspective was nice after they analyse, to ask each other's opinions. So yeah, that was a little while ago, wasn't it, that we had the I was going to say the 4-way, but sounds a bit dodgy, but the 4 people on the stream. I think after this next live stream, we are actually going to have Tim on for a little bit of a brief chat about the games. Just over a minute remaining in this contest now. Ball is going to be fed in. Free kick goes the way of the Chiefs. That was a programming master stroke, Hamish, says Gus. And Hamish went to cheat and saw his other girlfriend, says Marco. Damien McKenzie now. 45. I think the Chiefs, they'd go for one more try, wouldn't they? I don't think they can lose their bonus point from here. It's just probably more of the question of, is it going to work for them going for one more try, or could it end up actually with them conceding? Okay, the yellow card for Jared Prophet has been upgraded to a red. There was no mitigation, high degree of danger. There's a red card for Jared Prophet. Like I said, he'll be disappointed, but at the end of the day, you've got to try and tackle a little bit lower than a lock's jaw. Normally, if you're tackling a lock that high, it means you're going way too high in the first place. Billy Pollard now throws it in. That was not straight to Rob Valentini. That was probably the last real chance for the Brumbies today. 46-12, though, not the scoreline that they were after. Hamish is showing Sky Sport he can do double commentary. One on the rugby and one on the rugby league at the same time. 2 birds, 1 stone. Deserves double wage too, says Marco. And there they are, just showing the Hurricanes versus the Reds. That is going to be kicking off in only about 45 minutes time, ladies and gentlemen. And we will be live on the channel covering that game. So if you are new, sure to leave a like and subscribe. Exactly, Hamish Bro. Each friend a thought and some their plus. Point sharing each other. Way to remember that show. And double girlfriends, says Pizza Blaze. Now back into the pocket. The Chiefs will put this ball into touch, and they walk away with the massive victory over the Brumbies, 46 points to 12. It wasn't even close in the end, and the Chiefs do make it 2 from 2. I like the way Clayton McMillan has done with the Chiefs, or like what McMillan has done with the Chiefs over the last 3 seasons. Coach of the future. Double girlfriends, a yes tag team. I won into... interesting, Marco. But yeah, 2 in a row for the Chiefs, and they will actually move to first place now on the overall table. So sitting very nicely for them at this stage. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy this live stream, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Like I mentioned, 45 minutes time, we will be back raring to go for that next live stream just around the corner. But thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one.